I just realized when I said good morning to Danny, I said good mooning. Okay, good mooning. Happy Friday, good morning. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. Oh man, we're off to a start, aren't we? Yeah, it's Friday, 10 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States of America. And great to have you along for the ride. Thanks for all those of you who are joining us and who will watch us later on in the day on VOD. We appreciate you being here. And please don't forget to hit that follow button, whether it's on X or Rumble. And don't forget to download the free Rumble app. It's a great place to watch the show and all the other great content that exists on Rumble. All right, we got a big one. Party switching. It's happening, and for all the right reasons. Pope Leo and the LGBT issue. This is an interesting one. And somebody robbed a restaurant at Disney World, and you won't believe how. This is a cool story. All right. All that and more, it's coming up today on this program we call The Jay Sheldon Show. Democrats celebrating Charlie's murder has sparked a historic event, party switching. There is a huge wave of Democrats switching to the Republican Party. The assassination of Charlie Kirk has become a defining moment in American politics. And not just because of the tragedy itself. When Tyler Robinson gunned down Kirk at Utah Valley University, he didn't just take a life. He exposed a shocking reality. Some on the left, of course, as we've seen, as we've covered, have celebrated the attack. That reaction has now triggered what's being called the Charlie Kirk effect. Historic wave of Democrats abandoning the party and joining the GOP. The numbers tell the story better than any pundit can. According to a report from the New York Post, states like Florida, New Mexico, voter registration offices reporting unprecedented surges in people switching from Democrat to Republican. Now, these Americans who watched the left's reaction to Kirk's murder and decided, I've had enough. You've even seen posts on X, Twitter, TikTok of people saying, I've had enough. I'm done with the Democrats. I'm switching parties to protest. I understand the right also has certain character flaws, but it doesn't culminate in sympathy for political violence, said Shelfer Zepeda, 31-year-old avocado farmer and software entrepreneur in California, reacting to the Democrats celebrating the assassination. Attempted assassinations of presidential candidates, public execution of healthcare CEOs, and political influencers seems to be in line with what the leftists want. Rumble's messing up? Weird. All right, go to X. Anyway, he further is analyzing his own, what used to be his party. He said, after all, in revolutionary socialist doctrine, political violence is necessary, justified, which is why we see so many people trying to intellectualize these assassins in the first place. I just simply cannot align with the direction things are going in. These are Democrats who've had enough. Christopher Elton, restaurant manager, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, said Kirk's death definitely encouraged him to register as a Republican last week. There is more peace on the right compared to the left, and I'm almost embarrassed for voting left in my life. I was always more of a policy voter than party affiliated. I slowly moved towards faith, religion, and Jesus, and learned a lot through Charlie Kirk. He wasn't argumentative. He brought you facts, and if he was wrong, he was the first to say it. These are not just isolated anecdotes. The post-assassination surge into the Republican Party has been significant. Even state GOP organizers have taken notice of what's going on. Jennifer Say, former Levi executive, longtime Democrat, officially joined the GOP. Levi's fired Say in 2022 for criticizing COVID restrictions. She's since become a leading voice against biological males competing in women's sports. She even launched her own apparel line, XXXY Athletics. That's her, focusing on women's sports for actual women. Until now, she has never embraced the Republican label. But no more. She told the Post, "I felt like both parties have this sort of litmus test, and I didn't want to be held to any litmus test. I just wanted to decide what I think and vote accordingly." The vibe overall on the left, certainly, most of my ex-friends are of the left, is that they are so convinced of their own righteousness that anything is justified, including murder. Now, obviously, Kirk's murder was meant to silence conservative voices through intimidation and violence, created a political martyrdom that is energizing the right and exposing the left and their tolerance for political violence when it serves their purposes. This wasn't just a tragedy, folks. It was indeed a breaking point for a lot of people. Democrats celebrating political violence got a huge wake-up call to the face. America is rejecting the madness, and it is good to see. In droves, they are coming to the Republican Party, or at the very least, leaving the Democratic Party. Good on you. You know, I noticed something today when I was looking through the headlines, trying to find stuff to talk about on the show this morning. Every page is full of nothing but stories about this idiot Jimmy Kimmel and his lifelong suspension. I mean, he's done. There was video footage of them clearing out the studio today. But it's this angle and that angle and all the way down the page. Kimmel. Who gives a flying rat's ass? Please, there is a lot of other stuff going on in the news. And when I saw this, across all right-leaning, left-leaning, center-leaning websites, news outlets, it was all about this Kimmel crap. Who cares? He's an idiot. He's screwed up, and he's gone. Goodbye. I couldn't avoid it. There was so little to find other things to talk about because it led me to believe, what exactly are they trying to pull our attention away from? I mean, there's a lot of other things going on. Some very important things. But all these news sites want to talk about is this ridiculous, stupid, who gives a flying rat's ass Jimmy Kimmel story. Here's one from Town Hall. Hey, libs, as you whine about Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, you know we have the receipts, right? You'd think Jimmy Kimmel was sent to the camps after his show was suspended indefinitely for peddling false information. The late-night host tried to claim Tyler Robinson was a MAGA supporter. And that is absolutely, blatantly, provably false. We all knew it was false, so ABC decided to yank Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, and the meltdown began. course, they're screaming about free speech and First Amendment rights, two things they know very, very little about, given their penchant for social media bans against those they don't like. We have the tapes. We have the tweets. Sit down, guys. Also, press freedom increased under President Trump, but dropped under Presidents Obama and Biden. Democrat Representative Van Hollen says it's never justified to use government power to crack down on political viewpoints that you disagree with.
Justified in that sense.
No, Katie, it's never justified to use government power to crack down on political viewpoints that you disagree with. I mean, that is just barred by the First Amendment. And some of those institutions are standing up, at least so far. I mean, Harvard has stayed in the litigation. But I do want to repeat that those who cave, those who appease this, really do put the rights of the rest of us at risk. I understand the pressure they're under, but the way bullies operate is they get people picked off one by one until there's nobody left to stand up for anybody else who's left. This is a classic authoritarian strategy, so we all need to stand together, and that's why Senator Murphy and I and others put forward this proposal. But really the bottom line here is all of us as citizens of this country need to stand up to protect our basic freedoms, and the First Amendment is front and center.
Do you have any Republican?
David French posts, Greitens gone, Roseanne gone. We'll call this the day of hygiene. Andrew Wilson, big win in the battle of ideas and free speech. Roseanne said what she wanted to say, and ABC made the business decision that was right for them. Mark Hemingway, just a reminder that the Bulwark has no business commenting on any of this. First, they came for Jimmy Kimmel. What happens when comedians are held to stricter standards than vice presidents? Educated hillbilly Joe Jorgensen praises company for firing an employee for posting All Lives Matter on the employee's private Facebook page. This chart shows press freedom went down under Obama and Biden. It picked back up during Trump's term and then right back down again during Biden. Here's another one, Eric Dougherty. Conservatives have resurfaced this clip of Brian Stelter, Potato Head, justifying censorship of conservatives.
And the polluters are trying to deflect blame. Dishonest cries of censorship are filling Fox's airwaves with charges that these guys right here are being suppressed. The word censorship's been invoked almost 400 times on Fox this month alone, and more than 300 times on Newsmax. You know, post-insurrection, a book publisher decided that it did not want to be in business with Senator Josh Hawley. So he's been on a national TV tour claiming he's muzzled. And Tucker Carlson is telling viewers that this network, CNN, is trying to force Fox News off the air, which is patently false. It's as predictable as the sunrise. Democrats win elections, and then Republicans say they are being silenced. But while some cry cancel culture, let me suggest a different way to think about this. A harm reduction model. Most people want clean air and blue skies, and accurate news and rational views. And then in that healthy environment that looks beautiful, then we can have great fights about taxes and regulation and healthcare and all the rest. The vast majority of people can agree that disinformation about, let's say, the pandemic is unhealthy. It's harmful. So how can that harm be reduced? Well, big tech platforms say they are removing lies about vaccines and stamping out Stop the Steal BS and QAnon cult content. Now, do these private companies have too much power? Sure. And many people would say yes, of course they do. But reducing a liar's reach is not the same as censoring freedom of speech.
Okay, Stelter, Potato Head, we've had just about enough of you. Thank you very much. Goodbye. That is why he's no longer on the air. Oh my, so many comments of Democrats shouting, hit him in the pocket, canceling Disney, ESPN subscriptions as if that's going to work. It's hilarious how stupid they are. Kind of. These companies are too big. It won't work. Chances are. Chances are. The Pope has spoken out and spoken up. A rather interesting story if you are Catholic. A new interview with Pope Leo is signaling how he'll handle the LGBTQ agenda in the church. Pope Leo spoke with Crux senior correspondent Elise Ann Allen, first sit-down interview since becoming the pontiff, and he made it very clear that his mission isn't to solve all the world's problems, but to help confirm Catholics in their faith and to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now, during this conversation, the Holy Father discussed how he planned to handle a number of hot-button issues that have left members of the church kind of polarized and at odds with one another, especially those concerning the LGBT community. The Pope said while he welcomes people of all walks of life into the church, he does not, as of now, have any plans to make changes to the traditional teaching of the Catholic Church on these matters. It's troubling the Holy Father said he's not, as of now, planning to make changes, rather than saying he is never going to change the official teaching of the Church on sexual mortality and morality. Sacred Scripture from cover to cover makes it clear when it comes to the sacrament of marriage. Church's tradition supported that view for obvious reasons throughout its history. It's only recently come into question with Pope Francis's pontificate. Now there are priests in some parishes affirming gay and transgenderism, despite it going against the official teachings of the Church. Pope Leo said, everyone is invited in, but I don't invite a person in because they are or are not of any specific identity. People want the church doctrine to change. They want attitudes to change. I think we have to change attitudes before we even think about what the church says about any given question. Continuing, the pontiff says, I find it highly unlikely, certainly in the near future, that the church doctrine in terms of what the church teaches about sexuality, what the church teaches about marriage, will change. The individuals will be accepted and received, reiterating the importance of respecting and accepting people who make different choices in life. He says, I've already spoken about marriage, as did Pope Francis when he was Pope, about a family being a man and a woman in solemn commitment based on the blessings and sacrament of marriage. He further elaborated, he added, the role of the family in society at times suffered in recent decades, and once again has to be recognized and strengthened. And he said, I think the church's teaching will continue as it is, and that's what I have to say about that for right now. Once that domino falls, if it ever does, then the Catholic Church might be looking at its own demise. Jesus Christ himself promised the gates of hell would not prevail against his bride. However, He never promised it would be smooth sailing. Interesting first interview with the new Pope. Wow. You know, we've talked about it before. This ridiculous free speech suppressing bull crap that's going on in the UK. It's getting worse. A lot worse. However, as you just saw me take a sip of my Blackout coffee, give me 60 seconds to tell you all about it. It is Blackout coffee. Oh, yeah. It is their process that makes it so unique and so different and so good. It is all done in-house. They are an American company. They work with local co-ops and American farmers to grow the best beans, the Source Premium Specialty Grade green coffee beans, which were graded at 80 or above on a 100-point scale. Specialty coffees grown at the perfect altitude, the right time of year, in the best soil, and then harvested at just the right moment. They work with local co-ops, as I said, and American farmers. This is an American company. They support our military, our First and Second Amendment. They're all about the good stuff you and I believe in and our conservative values. Coffee's roasted, packed, and shipped lightning speed, usually within 24 to 48 hours. And now you do have the option. It's not just beans. They will grind your choice for you. There's a little pull-down tab now on a lot of the different roasts where you can choose to have them grind it for you. So no more excuses. You can't order beans because you don't have a grinder. Problem solved. They've got all kinds of amazing flavored coffees, cold brew, pods, instant. Check them out, please. Use the link in our show notes. And when you place your first order, you use the code J20, J-A-Y-20, and that'll get you 20% off your first order. That's a great deal. Try a single bag today. Give it a shot. If you do not figure out that this is the best full-flavored, never bitter, strong coffee you've had, I don't know what to tell you, folks. Millions of people have tried it. Millions of people have come back for more. It's Blackout coffee. Use the link in our show notes and order yourself up a bag today. Give it a try. An American cancer patient and a Trump supporter has been confronted by the British police and told to apologize for her online post, or she will face an investigation. Deborah Anderson is a mother of two, visited in her home in June by an officer from Thames Valley Police. He told her someone had lodged a complaint against her social media posts. She told him she was an American citizen, a member of the Free Speech Union, and he should be investigating burglaries and rapes, not hurty words on social media. Chillingly, he said he was there to get her to apologize to the person who was offended by her posts. So, you're offended. Oh, get freaking over it. So what, you're offended? I'm offended. Idiots. What was the supposed crime? The cop never said. Her passionate support of President Trump, maybe? The MAGA movement? On her Facebook and her X pages? Now, to make it worse, Deborah is also in the middle of cancer treatment, including chemo. She should have been convalescing, not dealing with some idiot moral police cop. The FSU took on her case. As a result, they have now dropped their investigation, thank God. But they still have not told Deborah which one of her posts are what got her in trouble. This is the actual video she took when the cop arrived at her house.
You can come in, but you better have a damn good reason for being here. I'm a member of the Free Speech Union, and I'm an American citizen. I'll have Elon Musk on you so quick your feet won't touch.
Something that we believe you've written on Facebook has upset someone.
You're here because somebody got upset. Is it against the law? Am I being arrested?
You're not being arrested.
Then what are you doing here?
My plan was, if you were admitting that it was you who wrote the comment, we could just make an apology to the person.
I'm not apologizing to anybody, I can tell you that.
The alternative would be that I have to call you for an interview. I'm here to talk to you about the allegation. They've reported it to the police.
So what?
Obviously, we get a lot of reports like that.
Are there no houses that have been burgled recently? No rapes, no murders?
Yeah, that's all going on as well. That's been
Well, then why aren't you out there doing, investigating those?
Because I want to investigate everything that gets reported.
Well, you're not investigating houses being burgled.
No, that's not my job today. Would you like to have a look at the comment that I'm...
I don't need to. I know exactly the things I've said. You know how many people in this neighborhood have been broken into?
I don't look after this neighborhood.
No, of course you don't, unless there's a tweet, then you do. So what? I haven't broken any laws. So you're going to be wasting your time when you can be, instead, doing things that are more important.
That's why I wanted to just come to you directly, have a chat about it.
No. You should not be doing this. I'm a cancer patient. You can see that because I'm bald.
I didn't know that before I came, but it doesn't change anything. You still can't break laws. If you haven't broken the law, then nothing happens.
Well, you know whether I've broken a law. You can judge for yourself before you even show up at my door. The public knows what you guys are doing. We know what's going on in this country. Why don't you do that? Get onto them and tell them to apologize to me, a cancer patient, a woman living on her own, who has never broken a law in her life, by the way, ever. An older woman, you tell them, I'm an elderly woman, I'm a cancer patient.
I have to come back and arrange an interview then.
Well, you can arrange it, but I'm going to tell you the same damn things that I'm telling you now. Next time, I'm going to have a Free Speech Union lawyer with me.
Bada bing, bada boom. She may be a cancer patient, but man, she is standing up for herself. Man, I love that. And again, here we go with the same crap in the UK. They will not get off it. The free speech police. They have decided not to censure Ilhan Omar. Unfreaking believable. And guess what? 4 alleged Republicans, obviously rhinos, somehow just couldn't bring themselves to vote in favor of the censure. Well, guess what? We are going to name and shame them right now. Here are the feckless, spineless rhino Republicans who somehow just couldn't bring themselves to censure Ilhan Omar. It astounds me there are still some issues out there that should transcend various factions in the Republican Party. It should be a rallying cry for every right-leaning person contending to be motivated by moral decency, and the party still cannot get its ass together and take a stand. Come on, guys. Maybe naivete on my part. Democrats, the resistance party that helped usher in an era of incivility, portraying every American with even the slightest differences in thought or opinion by labeling them as fascists and Nazis. The kind of rhetoric that one could draw a straight line from the bullet casings found at the crime scene in Utah last week, marching lockstep in any and every vote. And yet, Republicans finally handed an opportunity to reprimand an official for vile, hateful, indecent rhetoric in an era of assassination culture, which truly is what we are living in on the left. And they just cannot muster up the balls to send a message. What the hell? Resolution to censor Representative Ilhan Omar, remove her from key House committees, failed Wednesday in a very narrow 214 to 213 votes. 4 Republicans joined Democrats to table the measure over Omar's comments following Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now, there is very little, if not no debate, when it comes to what Omar said. Contemptible, disgusting. A vast percentage of the words that come out of her mouth since she set foot in Congress back in 2019. She is a hateful, loathsome individual. But it crossed the line when, barely 24 hours after Kirk was gunned down by a suspect allegedly driven by his own hatred and far-left ideology, Omar added another mark to her record as one of the most hateful, depraved members of this Congress. She took the occasion to join the equally reprehensible pro-Hamas journalist Mehdi Hassan to bash Kirk, borderline insinuating the conservative icon had gotten what he deserved for his words and actions. There are a lot of people out there talking about him, just wanting to have a civil debate, she said. These people are full of shit, and it's important for us to call them out while we feel anger and sadness. You understand what she's saying here. She wasn't simply the effective debater. Charlie Kirk was something worse, according to Ilhan. It wasn't civil in her view. And for that, go ahead, watch me trash this legacy before he's even been buried. Omar and Hassan laughed and mocked him throughout this interview. But there was more. The Minnesota Congresswoman also reposted a video to social media calling Charlie Kirk a stochastic terrorist and a reprehensible human being. Somebody ought to introduce her to a mirror. Regardless, these are clear-cut, censure-worthy comments, especially when Kirk was killed after being portrayed repeatedly by the left-wing media as a stochastic terrorist, especially when it's clear that the left in this country crossed a line that, if it's left unpunished, it's going to result in nothing but more violence in order to silence their political opponents. When that vote came up, 4 Republicans joined Democrats, this is absolutely unbelievable, to protect this moron, refusing to remove her from committee assignments after she blatantly defamed the memory of Charlie Kirk. Mike Flood, Jeff Hurd, Corey Mills, no surprise there, and Tom McClintock siding with the Democrats. McClintock, no surprise. He hasn't been able to locate his spine for many, many years now. Voted against measures to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Measure to censor Adam Schiff. Voted against that. McClintock and the Feckless Four have cited First Amendment rights in their defense of Omar. But this is not about free speech. She has every right to express her feelings on the matter. She clearly knows that. It's about decorum from an elected official. Paul Gosar, representative from Arizona, Republican. If you could be censured for speech, Gosar was formally censured by the House of Reps and stripped of his committee assignments in 2021 for posting an anime cartoon video on the internet. An anime cartoon. Democrats, you see, know how to play this game. Never turning on their own, always using every measure in the arsenal to stop their opponents. And Republicans keep failing time after time after time. Mills' vote to protect Omar from censure was the deciding vote. Despite his Bronze Star recipient history, he may have been absolutely the most gutless of them all, having voted with Democrats at the very last possible moment before the vote closed. Vote and run, tail tucked between your legs. You idiot. Mills has a personal stake in this. Democrats vowed to force a vote to censure him if the GOP moved forward on Omar. Kirk's free speech rights, obviously, were taken away from him. Omar's were not. They would not have been even with a vote to hold her accountable. She still has the right to portray him as a terrorist, despite how repulsive that might be. She'd still have that right even if Mills, McClintock, Hurd, and Flood voted to censure, which incidentally is in itself an expression of speech. The Senate describes it as little more than a formal statement of disapproval. That's all. You couldn't stand up and make that statement? Why? Betraying your principles? Disregarding any morals you may have? Caving to partisan pressure? Hiding behind weak arguments to save Ilhan Omar? Come on. Cowards. Absolute cowards. Disgusting. Hell of a story that did not get much traction on the news networks. But there was a potential mass shooting at a New York City high school. However, thanks to the FBI and the NYPD, that was prevented. FBI Director Kash Patel yesterday announcing the FBI and the NYPD teamed up to stop a potential school shooting at a New York City high school after they got a tip. See, this is how it works, folks. You get a tip, you investigate quickly, and then you take action. Didn't used to be that way. This latest interventions comes after Patel revealed a similar move earlier this month when authorities thwarted a potential attack at a North Carolina preschool. The suspect in that threat allegedly posted online he intended to shoot up a preschool, injuring or killing 20 black children. Patel said the New York City operation was carried out after a tip was made to the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. The alleged target, Benjamin Cardoso High School. Now, based on a very quick response from the FBI and the NYPD, student was arrested with a loaded firearm. Patel, posting on X, said the FBI will continue to work tirelessly to protect our children. He didn't name the suspect in this latest operation, but New York City officials said the teenager was 16 years old and in the 10th grade. No motive at the moment has been made clear about it. He was also allegedly posting about the shooting on Instagram Thursday morning. Arrested on the campus about 2 hours later, the gun found in his backpack. Mayor Adams in New York this afternoon breathed a sigh of relief because Cardoso High School students and staff are all safe. He said it was an example of the system working perfectly because someone saw something suspicious and actually did something about it by reporting the post and logging the tip. Potentially saved the lives of a lot of students and a lot of staff today. He said, we don't want to imagine a world in which we could be making the different announcement right now. Thank God for quick action. Man, unbelievable. Somebody robbed a restaurant at Disney World, and you won't believe how and how they got away. We'll tell you about it after we tell you about another great American company.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Hey, if you're worried about switching, don't. They make it so easy and nothing changes. You keep your phone, you keep your number. Everything is the same except who is providing your wireless service. And that likely can be done at a plan that may even save you more money than you're paying now. If you sign up using our link, patriotmobile.com/J, J-A-Y, simple to remember, you'll get a month free. Your first month is on me when you sign up for patriotmobile.com/J. Do not be fooled by these other providers. Everybody's trying to jump on the bandwagon. Patriot Mobile is the nation's first Christian conservative wireless provider that uses all 3 networks. Like I said, nothing changes except your money is going to a company that believes what we believe in. patriotmobile.com/J. Please give them a shot. Check it out. Sign up. Get switched. Couldn't be easier to do. All right. Somebody robbed a restaurant at Disney World. Okay, interesting headline. Florida is the mecca of weird stories. Give me a second. Okay. I know, I zoned out for a second, but I had to. Deputies in Florida are looking for a man caught on camera robbing a restaurant at Walt Disney World's Disney Springs shopping area in what appears to be scuba gear. Look at this. That's freaky. That looks like a spray paint can in which I'm sure he's just about to likely spray paint the security camera. The unusually dressed suspect went into the Paddlefish restaurant just after midnight on Monday this week, according to Orange County Sheriff's Office. Took about $10,000 to $20,000. Holy crap. They had that much in the till? 2 employees depositing cash into a safe after the restaurant closed, allegedly told to get down and close their eyes. By the perpetrator who was wearing a wetsuit. The suspect did not appear to have a weapon, didn't imply that he had one. He was caught on camera wearing all black gear, goggles, and a blue rubber-like gloves. Witnesses say, here's the weird part, after the robbery, the suspect jumped into the water the restaurant's replica steamboat sits on and took off. Nobody was injured during the robbery, but one woman told deputies she was in fear of her life. The restaurant, set up to look like a giant paddle boat, has 360-degree waterfront views, Disney Springs, part of the Disney World Resort, and Paddlefish is owned and operated by Levy Restaurants. There was no spokesperson available for comment, but there it is. That is the Paddlefish Restaurant. It does look like a giant paddle boat, doesn't it? So, the guy comes in fully prepared for his escape, in a scuba gear, robs the place, and jumps in the water and gets away. You just gotta admire his planning and methods. It's nuts. Are we ready to unify with the violent left? I am not, so stop asking. We have entered a very dangerous time in our country. That should be clear to absolutely everybody, no matter where your opinions fall. Political violence is a sign of deep and corrosive sickness in any society. In America today, the problem is not political violence in the abstract. It is a specific kind of political violence which is overwhelmingly driven by a specific set of actors and groups. None of this came out of thin air. Over the past week, leaders across the political spectrum have come out forcefully condemning Charlie Kirk's murder, political violence more broadly, and for that, we're all very grateful. We should be grateful. There have been calls to unite, come together in the wake of Charlie's murder, and I would like to do that. I really would. Someday I pray we can be united in a country again, go forward together as a single people, under one flag. Sadly, we are absolutely not united. Upstream from the dehumanization, the demonizing, political violence, the rhetoric, which is the moment, this very moment, is tearing our country apart. There's a divide on how we view Americans and America. Is America good? Is America evil? Is there something inherently special about Western civilization? Or this 2,000-year project? Is it rotten to the core? And if it's something worth fighting for, and I believe it is, how do we do it? With words, ideas like Charlie Kirk did? Or firebombs, assassinations, bullets? Political violence is always wrong. Full stop, period, no questions asked. Doesn't matter which side you're on. In the name of any ideology or cause, it is wrong. But in America today, political violence is not a problem that falls equally on both sides. We have to be honest about this. We got to reject any attempt to paint political violence as some kind of random phenomenon. It is not. Kind of spontaneous insanity that takes place outside of some broader social contract. It has no pattern. Wrong. Already we're hearing people talk about Charlie's assassination in exactly those kind of terms. We're told we can't possibly know what drove a killer to plan and carry out a murder of the most prominent conservative activists in this country. That is a lie. We do know. The facts, plain as the nose on your face. And we've got to speak truth in this moment. Or there is no other side of the mountain. The vast majority of Americans, friends, are absolutely against political violence, 100%. But there is a vocal and very active minority that encourages it and, in fact, celebrates it. And that minority is overwhelmingly on the left. Just last week, a YouGov poll found that a full 25% of the people who describe themselves as very liberal, we covered this, say it can be justified for citizens to use violence against active political goals to achieve them. Less than 3% of very conservative Americans say the same thing, and frankly, that's too many. 3% too many. But we are absolutely lying to ourselves if we think it's a both sides thing. It's not. We have to confront it. This is an ideology that runs dangerously deep. The numbers virtually identical when it comes to whether or not it's okay to celebrate the deaths of people with whom we disagree. Large majorities in both parties opposed to celebrating political violence. Democrats overall, more than twice as likely as Republicans to believe that it's usually or always acceptable to celebrate the death of a public figure they oppose. What in God's green earth is going on? Earlier this year, a poll found 55% of the people on the left believed it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Donald Trump. These are not just some abstract numbers on a page. Our fellow citizens in this country. How do you expect to come together with people who believe these things? We saw the flood of hit pieces, the most powerful media outlets in the nation dishonestly attacking, victimizing Charlie in the most vicious possible ways. How do you ask us to unite under that kind of bullshit? There can be no unity between good and evil. Somebody has to win this thing. And don't tell me it's both sides. It didn't happen in a vacuum. Over the past decade, we've seen an explosion of political violence. Not just one-off lone wolf attacks, organized, systematic political violence at a mass scale. It isn't organic. It is the offspring of a dark, clandestine system funded in part by our own very tax dollars, with a large network of foundations, NGOs, activist organizations, front groups. The George Soros empire financed a vast ecosystem of radicals all working together to unleash a tidal wave of violent anarchists on our streets, propping it up with an army of researchers and experts and journalists and propagandists who all play down the political violence. Check yourself, and don't give me this both sides bullcrap. The man who tried to kill Republican congressmen at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Left-wing or right-wing violence. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love and the George Floyd riots. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre. Covenant school shooting in Nashville. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on Trump. The Abundant Life Christian school shooting, United Healthcare Group CEO murder, Teslas burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed, the murders at the Israeli embassy, ICE facilities firebombed, Minnesota Catholic school shooting, anti-white North Carolina stabbing, and now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of our own Charlie Kirk. Don't give me this speech about both sides. We want to go unity. We need to be honest. It ain't gonna happen. Somebody needs to win this. And I believe we will. Hey, we're out of time. We got to go. Just check up on the chat here. God's word, the Bible will never change, and we have to stand firm on that word. That's a good way to end it, huh? Thank you, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Spend it with someone you love. And be sure and follow the show. Give us a like, a thumbs up. All those buttons are right down there somewhere. We appreciate it. And don't forget, we're also a podcast. You'll find us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever you may get your podcast from. You hear the audio part of our show. Comes out about a day after the show is live. We're going to take the weekend off, and we will be right back here come Monday morning at 10 a.m. Thanks again for everything, and I'll see you then.